There comes a moment in your life when you look back, not to reminisce, but to gather the pieces of yourself that you once abandoned. Scattered fragments buried beneath shame, pain, silence, and survival. And when you gather them with trembling hands and a heart worn thin, you realize that every single scar was a roadmap, every ache a lesson, every silence a scream you couldn't release. I stand before you now not as someone who has conquered every storm, but as someone who has learned how to walk through the rain barefoot, bleeding, and still believing in tomorrow. I want to tell you the truth. Not the shiny, polished truth we dress up in public, but the ugly, unfiltered truth that lives in the corners of the soul. The one that whispers to you in the night, "You're not enough," and still dares you to rise anyway. You see, the world taught me early that love could be conditional, that pain could be normalized, that poverty wasn't just the absence of money, it was the absence of choice, the absence of dreams, the absence of breath in a room where your worth was negotiated before you even spoke a word. I have walked through fire that didn't announce itself with flames, but with silence, with rejection, with doors that slammed so hard they echoed in my bones for years, and yet I rise. Not because I am fearless, but because I have known fear so intimately that it no longer surprises me. Because I have sat at the edge of giving up and decided to stand anyway. Life didn't hand me miracles, it handed me moments to choose, break or bend, silence or scream, run or rise. Let me tell you something about pain. It is not the enemy. It is the teacher that shows up in the absence of kindness. It is the preacher that shouts when no one listens. My pain taught me how to see people, really see them, not their image, not their performance, but their soul. It taught me compassion that runs deeper than understanding. It taught me the sacred power of presence. You don't learn that in comfort. You learn it when life guts you open and you have to figure out how to breathe through the bleeding. There were days I prayed not for blessings, but for strength to not be invisible. There were days I smiled so no one would ask, "Are you okay?" because I didn't have the energy to lie. And there were nights I whispered to myself, "This can't be all there is." But it was in those very whispers that I learned to build a voice that doesn't tremble when I speak truth. A voice that doesn't shrink for anyone's comfort, a voice forged in fire. My life taught me that the world doesn't need perfection, it needs presence. It needs honesty. It needs someone who can stand in their truth without apology and still offer grace to others who haven't found theirs yet. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is that healing is not linear. There is no ceremony, no diploma, no day when the pain says goodbye and never comes back. Healing is messy. It is wild. It is 2 steps forward and 5 back. It is choosing to show up anyway. It's choosing love after betrayal. It's choosing hope after heartbreak. It's choosing to be soft in a world that taught you hardness. I used to think strength looked like silence, like endurance, like being the last one standing no matter what. But now I know true strength is vulnerability. It is crying when you're hurting. It is asking for help. It is saying no when your soul is exhausted. It is choosing rest without guilt. And it is holding space for your younger self, the one who didn't know any better, who was just trying to survive, who deserved so much more than what they were given. I look at her now with love, not shame. I tell her, "You were never the problem. You were the light in a dark place." My life lessons didn't come from books. They came from moments where I was on the floor, grieving, gasping, broken, and had to crawl my way toward purpose. I learned that rejection is redirection, that loneliness can be holy, that survival is sacred. I learned that people will misunderstand you, label you, dismiss you, and it is not your job to convince them of your worth. Your worth is not a debate. It is not contingent. It is inherent, and no one can take that from you. I learned that love is not possession. It is freedom. That boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to truth. That forgiveness is not for them. It's for you, so you can release the poison and reclaim your peace. I have learned to be grateful for the nights I didn't think I'd make it, because they taught me what resilience tastes like. I've learned to honor every version of myself, even the broken ones, because they all got me here. This world will try to make you forget who you are. It will try to box you, shrink you, silence you. But let me remind you, your existence is not a mistake. Your story is not an accident. You are not a burden. You are a miracle. And your voice, your pain, your journey, it matters. Don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let anyone convince you to be less for their comfort. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to break chains, to rewrite narratives, to shatter ceilings, to stand up not just for yourself, but for every soul still trying to find the courage to speak. And yes, there will be days when you feel like a fraud, days when you feel small, days when the weight of your history sits heavy on your chest, but you will keep going. Because deep down, you know that the fire inside you did not come to be extinguished. It came to set others free. I have learned that we must love ourselves like our lives depend on it, because they do. I have learned to embrace my flaws like badges of survival. I have learned that beauty is not in perfection, it's in authenticity. It's in showing up exactly as you are and saying, I am enough, even when I'm still healing. I've learned that silence can be violence, and speaking your truth is an act of revolution. That grace is not weakness, it is wisdom wrapped in softness. And perhaps the most powerful lesson of all, you don't have to be whole to be worthy. You don't have to be healed to help others. You don't have to be fearless to move forward. You just have to be willing to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep forgiving, to keep believing, even when everything tells you not to. I want you to know that your past does not disqualify you. Your pain does not disfigure you. Your struggle does not diminish you. It deepens you. It teaches you compassion. It births empathy. It ignites courage. And those are the qualities this world is desperate for. We don't need more perfect people. We need more real ones, more brave ones, more people willing to say, I've been through hell and I'm still here. That's your power. That's your magic. Don't you dare dim it for anyone. If you take nothing else from my story, take this. Your scars are proof you survived. Your breath is proof you still have purpose. And your heart, it still beats with dreams, no matter how many times it's been broken. So rise. Rise with your mess. Rise with your fear. Rise with your trembling voice and your heavy history. Rise not because the world is watching, but because you deserve to see yourself standing tall. Rise because there's someone out there waiting for your story to give them permission to live their own. Rise because you are the answer to a prayer someone hasn't even prayed yet. And when you rise, don't apologize for the weight you carry. Wear it like armor. Speak your truth. Love loud, laugh often, dance like the wounds have healed, even if they haven't. Because life is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be present, to be bold, to be unafraid, to live out loud in a world that wants you to whisper. My life has taught me that joy is rebellion. that healing is radical, that real love starts with self. So choose yourself again and again and again, until you no longer question your worth, until you no longer shrink for love that cannot see you, until you are no longer afraid of your own light, because you, my dear, are the lesson. You are the legacy. You